The weight of Aoi's emotions had finally become too much to bear. Aoi had spent days in silence, letting the sadness and confusion fester within her. She had tried to move on, to accept that Haruto was no longer a part of her life the way he used to be, but it wasn't that simple. Every corner of her life reminded of him, the way he smiled, the way they would laugh together, and the warmth of his presence. And so, one rainy afternoon, Aoi found herself sitting across from her close friend, Mizuki, at their favorite cafe. Mizuki had been by her side through thick and thin, always there to listen when Aoi needed someone to confide in. Today, Aoi couldn't keep her feelings hidden any longer. Tears stung at her eyes as she looked down at the untouched tea before her. She hadn't meant to break down, but the floodgates were opening, and once they did, she couldn't stop herself. Mizuki noticed the change in her demeanor immediately, her eyes softening with concern. "Aoi, what's going on?" Mizuki asked gently, reaching out to touch her friend's hand. Aoi shook her head, trying to hold back the tears, but they came anyway. She couldn't stop the sobs that racked her body. I don't know what to do anymore, Mizuki," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I've lost him. I've lost Haruto." Mizuki didn't say anything at first. She just sat there, waiting, giving Aoi the time she needed. After a long pause, Aoi finally spoke again, the words tumbling out in a rush. "I've been in love with him for years, but I never said anything because I didn't want to ruin our friendship. He's always been there for me, and I didn't want to make things awkward. But then, Rina came into the picture, and I started to realize that maybe I've been holding on to something that wasn't even real anymore. Maybe I missed my chance." Her voice faltered, and more tears fell. Mizuki squeezed her hand reassuringly, her expression a mix of sympathy and understanding. "Do you think he ever knew how you felt?" Mizuki asked softly. Aoi shook her head, wiping her eyes. "I don't think so. I never told him. I was too afraid. And now, I think he's with Rina. He's moved on." Mizuki sat back in her chair, her mind racing as she processed Aoi's confession. She had always suspected that there was something more between Aoi and Haruto, but hearing it from Aoi's own lips was another thing entirely. "You have to tell him, Aoi," Mizuki said after a moment, her voice firm. "You can't let him go without giving him a chance to know how you feel. Maybe it's not too late." Aoi looked at her friend, shaking her head slowly. "It is. He's already made his choice, and I can't change that." Back at home, Haruto sat alone in his room, staring at his phone. He had been pacing back and forth, wondering if he had made the right decision by letting Rina go. It was clear that she had chosen to walk away, but it wasn't a relief. Instead, a sense of emptiness filled the space where his heart should have been. He couldn't stop thinking about Aoi. Her silence, her avoidance, he had misunderstood it all. He had thought she had moved on, that she was okay without him. But now, sitting in the quiet of his room, he realized how wrong he had been. What if she had been hiding her feelings all this time? What if she had been waiting for him to see the truth? The thought gnawed at him. The more he reflected, the more he realized how much he missed her, and how he had been too afraid to act when he had the chance. Now, it felt like it was too late. He had hurt her, and he didn't know if he could fix it. His thoughts were interrupted when he heard a soft knock at his door. "Haruto," came a familiar voice from the other side. It was Rina. "Can we talk?" Haruto opened the door, his heart heavy. Rina's face was calm, but there was an underlying sadness in her eyes. She stepped inside, closing the door behind her. "I've made my decision," Rina said quietly. "I can't keep waiting around for something that might never happen. I've tried, Haruto, but I see now that you're not ready. You're still hung up on Aoi. Haruto looked down, guilt washing over him. Rina, I know, Rina said, cutting him off. I know that you care about me, but I also know you care about her more. So I'm going to step away. I'm not going to keep pretending. Haruto nodded, feeling the weight of her words settle in his chest. Rina had been brave enough to let go, but he wasn't sure he was ready to do the same with Aoi. Thank you, Rina, he murmured. I'm sorry. Rina gave him a small, sad smile. I hope you figure things out, Haruto, and I hope Aoi does too. After Rina left, Haruto found himself alone again, the weight of his unresolved feelings pressing down on him. He didn't know what to do, but one thing was certain. He couldn't keep running from his feelings for Aoi. He had to face the truth, no matter how difficult it might be. Aoi, too, was at a crossroads. Her heart was torn between the desire to protect herself from further pain and the hope that maybe, just maybe, she still had a chance with Haruto. She had resigned herself to the idea that Haruto had moved on, but deep down, there was a small part of her that wasn't ready to let go. She found herself standing by the cherry blossom tree, the place where so many of her memories with Haruto had been made. The wind was still, and the petals fell softly around her. Her heart ached, and she couldn't help but wonder if this was the end of the road for her and Haruto. But then, as if the universe had decided to intervene, she saw him. Haruto was standing at the edge of the school grounds, his eyes searching for something in the distance. And in that moment, Aoi realized that maybe there was still hope for them. Maybe it wasn't too late. Meanwhile, Rina had already made her choice. She had let go of Haruto, knowing that his heart was somewhere else. But as she walked away, she couldn't help but feel a sense of relief. It was painful, yes, but it was also freeing. She had spent so much time worrying about Haruto's feelings, but now she realized that she had to start focusing on her own. She wasn't sure what her future held, but one thing was for sure. She would no longer be a part of a love triangle that had never truly been hers to begin with. And as she walked away from the school, she made a silent promise to herself to move forward no matter how hard it might be.